I'm gonna go over how to rebuild a carburetor on your 1991 and up 2-stroke Johnson 50 horsepower. So I've already rebuilt one, but this is the last one. Figured I'd make a video on it. So after you take it all the way apart, you just take everything out. This is what you're left with after you clean it. I put it through the ultrasonic cleaner. It does a pretty good job. So this is what you're left with. And so the first things I do is get my needle and my float here. Here's your needle. Here's your float. It's got a little holder on the bottom side to hold the needle. Let me set you up like this. There you go. So grab that. It slides in and holds it like this. You're going to put it into the where it came out of. There's a little brass hole. I'll show you. Oh, come off now. Sometimes they're kind of a bear to get in there. I didn't design this, but I think they would make a better design to hold it so it don't just slip off of there. But you know, sometimes you just over-engineer things. Even though the carburetors are the simplest thing. So once you get that on there, they give you this little holder here. Slides in to hold this, to hold the float and needle all in place. Slides in like this. All right. And that right there is where your needle goes. So this is how you put your float in. I always set it to where when you look at it, it is flush, or not flush, but level is what I mean. So when it's level, this one's just a tad bit off, just because you want, as soon as you move it up, it needs to pick up the needle. So I'm gonna bend this till it's flat. Then we'll go on going. Ready? So in order to bend it, there's this little tab here you hold, and you just bend it down a little bit. See, look, it doesn't bend it too far. So then you push up on this and push up on the float, and it'll bend it back up. There you go. That's about even. There it is. Okay. So now that you got it even, all right. Next things next. You put your carb gasket on here, just like so. And it does a special orientation. There's a little hole right here that feeds the fuel. So make sure that you get that gasket hole lined up. Then your carb bowl goes on. Don't forget, on your carb bowl and the kit, it comes with this little bitty, well, not little bitty, but this little gasket here that goes around the, I'm not sure what it's called, but it goes right around here. So just put it over it like that. And pretty much it rides on that right there to seal this. So after that, put that on, make sure it goes all the way down, and put your screws in. Should be 4 of them. you want to keep your old screws. You will reuse these old screws. They don't come in the new kit. And there's not really a torque spec. I mean, it'd be hard to torque a Phillips head screw, but just, you know, good and tight. Make sure you can hear that float moving. That's not bound up or stuck. All right. And then next, you're going to get, see, from your old kit or from your old parts. This is your bowl drain screw. Comes with a little O-ring on it. I'm just going to reuse the O-ring, partly because I can't really tell which one is correct. That comes with, obviously the carb kits come with a bunch of extra parts that don't end up being used, or for certain things, like if you wanted to replace some of the things on this throttle blades, screws, and some retaining clips and buttons, stuff like that. So I can't really tell. It comes with a bunch of them, but they weren't leaking before, so I'm just going to go back with these O-rings. So you just screw that in there. And when you take it apart, get my light here. When you take it apart, there is a jet down in there that you'll need to take out too. Not sure if you can see on the camera. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm trying to. But there is a little jet down in there. You'll need like a little screwdriver to get down in there and take that out if you need to. And so make sure you put that back in there. If you forget, it will not run right. So after you've got that jet back in there, you're gonna put this back on. The bowl drain. Alright. Then you're going to come, so now that you got your bottom side done, you're going to come to your top side. You have like a distribution plate here. And you'll have a gasket for that as well. These are going to have, I would actually suggest matching it up on the distribution plate, because it has these little holes right here and here that go to these little set places right here and here. So you just, and there's these grooves. You want to line up the gasket with those grooves. So you'll have to, it'll take some flipping around to make sure you get it right, but there it is. So and this will only go on one way. You got, use your old screws here too. You just want to snug them up. You don't want to wrench them down, because you don't want to ruin it for the next person that has to rebuild them. They can't get them off, and that's probably the ones I usually end up having to deal with. I got to get vice grips in order to, and then I mess the screws up trying to get them off. But you just, good and tight. You can kind of feel the gasket squishing. That's all you need, is for the gasket to squish. Alright, so once you got that on, last thing I think is your adjuster screw. You want to make sure that it's good and clean. Go to spring. Some carb kits I do, they come with new air mixture. I think these are air mixture screws. Usually they come with new ones, but sometimes they don't. You just reuse this. It goes right here on the top side behind this throttle lever. You have to pull the throttle lever back, put it down in there. And so how I set these, and it's just what I've always been told. Jeez. If you can get it to start. Dang. Being a bit of a bear. Well, what the heck? It's a very, very fine thread. There you go. Got it started. It was actually kind of hard. The other one wasn't that bad. Let me get a different flathead real quick. Alright, so what I've always been taught is you run them all the way down till they bottom out. Geez, apparently this flathead don't really fit in there either. Run them all the way down till the bottom's out, but you don't go. Okay. Different flathead. More better. All right, so you don't want to wrench them down, so you just go till it stops. You'll just feel it kind of stop, and then you go out. You count how many turns you go out. So I usually, that's one turn. So I do half turns. So I usually go out 1.5. That's usually what I go out, but some people say go out 2. Some people say go out 1.25. It's just personal preference. But that right there is how you rebuild your carburetor. It'll come with a new gasket on the motor. But that right there is how you rebuild a Johnson 50 2-stroke carburetor.